back of the house there's quite an area of rough grassland, and along the field margin people do tip their grass clippings, so you get these compost heaps forming. And compost is amazing really, because underneath it becomes really warm. And just delving in, I mean, I've found all sorts of things, lizards, slowworms, all sorts of things in compost heaps, but I wasn't actually expecting to find an ant nest. And I've uncovered this accidentally, obviously, and here's the brood of the ants, the larvae, and the ants are dashing around now, trying their best to collect the brood, get them back into safety, and just basically regulate the temperature of their nest. Ants need to have temperatures of about 10 degrees to be active, but they can't produce young below 20 degrees. Now look at the parasites on these poor ants. They are absolutely covered with them, and the brood. I'm not sure what parasites those are, but certainly looks kind of unpleasant. Now the ants are all over the place. There's 10,000 species in the world, but we actually only have 50 in the UK, or just around about 50. And here's another ant's nest that's in the side of the footpath, and you can see it's an absolute hive of activity. Most of their activity, the workers, they're carrying food around, or they may be excavating, so they're removing spoil, and this little heap of spoil has formed on the edge of the path where they've been excavating underneath the grass. And then they've got this wonderful little ant trail which runs across the path to the other side, and there's another entrance over there. So quite a network of tunnels and galleries under this pathway, I would imagine. So there's usually three types of ants and some subtypes. The males, which are short-lived and they don't do any work. There's some parallels there, I think. The queen that founds the colony and lays the eggs. And these workers, look at the mandibles on those. They are really tough, and they do communicate with each other. They'll actually stop and touch antennae. Quite what information they're passing on, I don't know, but they certainly do communicate. Now out in the grassland I found another mound nest, all this loose soil that's been churned up around the grass, and I've accidentally knocked it, and suddenly the whole ground is crawling with these little tiny orangey red ants. And they're basically reassembling their mound now. They're trying to reassemble all their nest chambers and galleries because I've come along and knocked it about. So these are going to be the workers, and they're really busy now. They regulate the temperature underground really well. Now this is an ant's nest in my garden. It's next to a big rock, and in temperate lands the soil gets thrown up around this because the rock absorbs the heat from the sunlight and then gently dissipates that heat through the ant nest. So that's quite a useful place for ants to set up. But ants will be everywhere. They're fascinating little creatures. They have an amazing colony structure, like the bees, colonial animals. So, next time you're thinking of pouring a boiling kettle down the ant nest, think again.